There are times when nothing is really wrong, but life feels a little bit off. Your routine is a little messy. Your motivation isn't there like it normally is. And before long, you could feel behind, even though you really can't pinpoint a reason why. We all get there sometimes. And when we do, sometimes our first reaction is that we need to make some huge change. We tell ourselves that starting Monday, we're going to completely turn things around, when most of the time, you probably don't need that kind of overhaul. Sometimes you just need a reset. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Dave and welcome into Born Bearded. We're so glad to have you guys here. Today I want to talk about those times where you just feel like you're out of rhythm. Nothing dramatic going on, nothing's falling apart. You just know that you haven't quite been yourself lately. And instead of beating yourself up over it, maybe it's time to look at what might need a little adjustment. So let's get through the intro and we're going to get right into it. Most of us have routines, whether we think about them or not. There are certain things that we do without even thinking about them simply because they're just part of your day. And then something changes. Maybe your schedule gets a little busier for a while. Maybe you just notice that there's a few days where you're a little more tired than usual. And eventually you start to realize your rhythm is gone. I think that affects more than what we realize. Once one part of our day starts feeling off, it's easy for the rest of the day to start feeling off too. This is where I think sometimes we make things harder than they need to be. We notice that we're off track and immediately we start thinking we need to fix everything. But a reset doesn't mean you have to rebuild everything. Pick that one thing that's been bothering you lately and let's start there. Maybe your mornings have gotten a little more rushed. Maybe you're not giving yourself enough time to really get ready. And with the little ones going back to school here soon, I can definitely see that as an issue. Fix that first. Then let's see what happens. You might be surprised how much better the rest of your day might be once one part of it starts working again. And this is one place where beard care fits into this conversation pretty naturally. If you've had a beard for a while, chances are you have some kind of routine with it. Sometimes it's detailed, sometimes it's quick and easy, but it's familiar. And there are times where just getting back to that routine can start helping you feel a little more put together. There's something about getting back to something familiar that helps you feel like you got your rhythm back. Sometimes that little bit of normal is enough to get you moving again. Motivation is great when it shows up, but the problem is sometimes motivation doesn't show up when you need it the most. If you're waiting to feel motivated to get back into your routine, you might be waiting a while. A lot of the times, the thought of getting started is a lot worse than actually doing it. That first step is usually the hardest part. Another thing that can keep us stuck is spending too much time thinking about what you should have done. Maybe your beard routine got lazy for a week. Get back to it today instead of thinking about what you could have done differently. And that can go for anything else that you've let slide. You don't need to make up every missed day. You just need to stop letting yesterday determine what today's going to look like. Sometimes the problem isn't that you're not following the routine. Sometimes the routine doesn't make sense anymore. Your schedule changes, your responsibilities change, and something that you were doing 6 months ago may not fit anymore. And that's okay. Your routine is supposed to help you. You're not supposed to have to spend your entire day trying to protect it. Adjust it, make it fit the life that you actually have now. That's a lot more useful than trying to force yourself into something that no longer works. You may not need some big plan. You may just need a day where you can just get yourself back together a little bit. Get up, take care of yourself. Let that be enough for today. That little bit of momentum can help change the way the rest of your day feels. And once you start feeling a little more like yourself, it's easier to keep going. Everybody gets off track. Everybody goes through days where their routine just goes out the window. That's normal. The problem comes when we decide that because we've gotten off track, that there's no point in getting back on it. One bad week does not have to turn into a bad month. You can reset whenever you decide to reset. You don't have to wait for Monday. You can start with the very next thing you do. Getting back into the rhythm doesn't mean that you need to get everything perfect overnight. Chances are you're going to have another off day. That doesn't mean that your reset failed. It just means that you're human. The goal isn't to create a routine that you never break. The goal is to notice when you're getting a little bit off track and how you can get back on it without it turning into something bigger than it needs to be. Sometimes feeling off rhythm is just that. You've been busy, your schedule changed, you need a reset. But sometimes there's more behind that. That's why it's important to check in on yourself instead of just assuming that you need to work harder. If you haven't felt like yourself for a while, please pay attention to that and talk to somebody if you need to. A reset can help you with your routine, but you still need to be honest with yourself about what's actually going on. If you've been feeling a little bit off lately, maybe you don't need to start over. Maybe you just need a reset. Get one familiar part of your routine back and let that get you moving. For a lot of people that watch this channel, maybe that's taking a few minutes with your beard and enjoying that routine again. Whatever it is, start somewhere. And before you leave, please check on yourself. Make your mental health a priority. Check on your friends and family. And remember, it is okay to not be okay. Just don't get comfortable staying there. Be honest about where you are. Reach out when you need help and keep working towards getting yourself back to a better place. And if you're in a place where you need more support than the people that are just around you, please call or text 988. They do have a veterans hotline there as well with people that are specialized to work with veterans. It's there when you need somebody to talk to and you're not sure where else to turn. Don't be afraid to use it. Admitting that you need help is one of the strongest things you can ever do. And I'm going to leave you guys with this. Remember, your mental health is a priority. Your happiness is essential, and your self care is an absolute necessity. I'm Dave, and I was born bearded. Love you guys.